Alright, so we should be okay now. So let me check my phone. You should be seeing something here in a couple seconds.
Okay, we are live according to this.
We are.
All right.
Good grief.
Chat's up. It looks like we're live. All right. Got 3 people out there visiting already.
Can't have that. I'll have to get rid of them.
Alright, start whenever you want. You're good.
All right. Let me just finish getting ready. There we go. We are 10-8.
So much
10-8?
Yep. 10-8. That's that cop talk again.
We're 10-8.
That's right.
What is 10-8?
10-8 means in service, that you're available for call. So, all right. 7 o'clock, guys. You ready?
Well,
Everybody
no,
ready?
it's not. No, it's not.
Yeah,
it's
it
not
is.
7. Sorry.
It's
no.
midnight.
Whenever you
right.
feel like it, start.
All right, here we are. And good evening, folks. Welcome back to On the Air with Indian River Huntings. I'm your host, Larry Lawson, along with my co-host and partner in crime from County Durham, England, Chris Huff. Say good evening, Chris. There we go. We got the white flag already.
No, it's yellow. I'm just cleaning up the laptop. It's covered in
And of course, in Orlando, Florida, got my son Ryan. He's engineering this whole thing. Ryan, say hi to everybody tonight.
Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello, Ryan.
Hello.
We've got a few folks out there. M18's checking in. Good to see you, my friend. We got about 4 or 5 other folks out there that are listening. So good evening, sir. And who else we got out there? Check in, guys, so I can say hi to you. It's kind of, I don't know how it is in your neck of the woods. I got it, Chris, is it's about 40 to, Your Honor, Commanding Judge Dredd has arrived. Good to see you, sir.
No, if you think it's cold here, you wait till I'd like to know what it is up where Paul is. I bet it's bloody freezing. He's right at the top end of Scotland.
Ah, okay. It's cold up there, man. You said it was 6 degrees centigrade?
It's always cold up there.
Well, it's cold 6 degrees centigrade with you, right?
It's 6 point something here, so yeah.
It's about 40 degrees Fahrenheit?
Yeah, give or take, 40, 42, yep.
Well, we were in the mid-90s today with humidity in the upper 80s, lower 90s, so it was a heat index of 105 here today. And who do we got? We got Chris George, our friend. He joined us. He's the veterinary guy. He joined us. He's with us tonight. Good old Ike over there in New Mexico is with us at IDK Paranormal. Jill Randazzo's with us. Good to see you, Jill. And Chris Costa. So we got us quite a crew to start here. Welcome, everybody. Tonight's going to be kind of an interesting show, and what I'm really kind of hoping is to get your thoughts and your comments. Tonight's going to be a lot of opinion and what you think and what you believe. And obviously, if you've got some stories to throw into, we'd like to hear about that too. But we're going to be talking about evil and the paranormal. Does it exist, and how does it exist? But before we do that, I want to remind everybody that if you haven't yet, hit the subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button, and go ahead and hit the little bell that gives you updates if we have any new content on there for you. So please do that. If you're enjoying this, share it with your friends. We got let's see. Oh, it's 42 degrees in New Mexico this morning, Ike. Jeez, oh Pete, it is miserably hot here. Unbelievable. Anyway, getting back to the show. So go ahead and hit subscribe and like. And want to do our shout outs. First one to my good friend Ike Enzi out there in New Mexico at IDK Paranormal. Great show on YouTube, and it's titled IDK Paranormal. If you haven't seen it yet, strongly recommend it. It's a great show. He's a retired cop like me, and he talks about his work dealings with the paranormal and law enforcement, as well as some other cool things like Southwest American mines and all kinds of neat stuff. So IDK Paranormal, please watch that. Also, our friends at Doodlebug Dowsing, Nikki and Sherry, I want to say hi to them up in Orlando, Florida. They're the ones that build all of the dowsing rods that we use for our investigations, and I would highly recommend them to you guys out there. Paradolia Brewery, my favorite place to hang out now that it's back open up in Sebastian, Florida. We've featured their beers on here a couple times. And anybody you want to say hi to tonight, Christopher?
No, no one loves me.
I don't even know what to say. Everybody loves you, Chris. Come on. Ryan, you got anybody you want to say hi to?
Hi, guys.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess.
See, he's far more sociable than me.
I wouldn't say that half the time.
So Heather Landon just joined us from Las Vegas. Heather, how hot is it out there? We're sitting here talking temperature. It's like 105 with the heat index today. What's it like there in New Mexico, or I'm sorry, Nevada, Las Vegas, Nevada? Yeah. So tell us. But Ned, now to the one of the best parts of the show, and I'm going to make Chris unhappy because I'm going to share a can tonight. And Chris does not like cans of beer. He believes
Not
they
in the
should be all
slightest.
But this is a local beer.
And this is the reason why you're getting kidney pains.
Okay.
It's all that metal content.
Are you sure it's not the alcohol?
No, the alcohol will just blast it through. It's all the metal. It's all the aluminium.
Aluminium, yes. Stump Knocker beer from Gainesville, Florida, the land of the Florida Gators. This is a local beer, an American Pale Ale, about 5.6 alcohol. I have no idea how this tastes, but I wanted to do a local beer tonight, or a fairly local one. Gainesville's about 3 hours up the road. So I'm going to crack it here and give you an opinion. Oh, it's a little fuzzy.
It's going to crack a cold one with the boys.
That's right. Might as well be Budweiser.
Oh dear.
Nah.
Not got it?
Nah. Not like last week's. Last week's was that.
Well, I did tell you about the ESB, so.
Yeah, the ESB was good. This is on a scale of 1 to 10. This is a 5.
No, that's drinkable. The thing I was trying last week, I'd have given a 1.5 to. It was just like nail varnish. It was absolutely atrocious.
Let's see. Oh, Chris George tells us it's Colorado. It's 30 degrees right now. Oh, God, that's too cold. I'm kind of glad I'm down here. I'd rather have it this hot than that cold, especially in June. So, anyway, getting on to the show. Evil and the paranormal. We talk about that all the time. We talk about running into evil spirits or demonic sources, all kinds of evil. But Chris, how much evil is really out there on the other side that we have to be concerned about, in your opinion?
Not as much as people make out, especially not on television. To tell you the truth, I mean, when I go on investigations, I'm more frightened of people coming out of the pub late at night drunk than I am of meeting anything nasty.
So where do you think all of this hype on evil comes from? I could tell you my personal experience. I've run into some grumpy entities, shall we say?
I've run into more than that. But where it comes from is it sells TV programs. It sells books. It sells DVDs. It sells glossy magazines. Oh, it's evil. It's a demon. It's this and that. And it's not. And most of it in my experience has been grumpy buggers. Literally very grumpy, because this was their house. This was their vase. Yeah. This was their gun. This was their necklace. And they don't want anyone else having it. And they get nasty about it. But it's not a demon. Nothing like the evil that they say. It's just like the miserable old bugger who lives up the street who shouts at kids as they go past on their bikes. It's exactly the same principle. So, but yeah, I've met nasties, but I'm not going to go into it just yet. We're sort of preambling.
Yeah. Well, I mean, obviously, nobody knows. I want to put this preamble out there too, folks. Chris and I don't know all the answers. We're as learning just as everybody else is, and that's the whole idea behind the new program we set up, by the way, is to just find those answers. Nobody knows what's really going on there, and certainly everybody does have a view and an opinion. But are there demons out there, Chris? In your opinion, are there demonic or evil entities that we would refer to as demonic? I get it. See, just one sip of that stump knocker.
One sip of that stuff, and that's it, isn't it? Yeah. There are things out there which are very dark, What they are, I can't tell you. I don't know their exact nature, but I've run into one or two, and they feel completely different to a grumpy bugger spirit. Completely and utterly different. They behave differently.
Were they ever human in origin?
Good question. I don't know. Personally, I don't think so. I
Okay.
really don't think so. It's very hard to put into words. It's very hard to put into words, but they don't. Spirits, by and large, if they're miserable, if they're sick, perverted, nasty, you get this horrible, greasy feeling in your brain. No, I'm not.
Well said.
I'm trying to describe it to you.
That's an excellent description. I know exactly what you're
It's a
talking
sick,
about.
greasy feeling in your brain, and you feel a bit ugh with the whole thing, and your skin starts crawling, and you're just thinking something's not right here. So you're getting someone in the past who's practiced Satanism, and they've got an aura about them, these spirits, and they feel dirty. And dirty is the word. They feel dirty. And when you come into contact with them, you feel dirty for coming into contact with them. It's probably like dealing with some of the perverts that you've picked up in the police. You know, you just feel, I've got to have a bath.
Yeah, I definitely, and that's why I'm relating to this feeling with you about. You mentioned something a second ago, and once again, I know this is just an opinion, but you said people that practice Satanism.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that is oftentimes, sometimes it's born out of being anti-Christian. Sometimes it's born out of just wanting to do the opposite of what good or Christian-type teachings teach you. But when you talk about somebody practicing Satanism, in other words, dealing with black magic, perhaps, how does that fit into evil, or does it, in your opinion? And I'd love to hear from you folks out there, your thoughts on this too. So pipe in. What's your opinion?
You're asking these questions, and I've got to seriously step back and think. So don't expect instantaneous answers to these questions. It's thinking. I can't really answer it apart from saying what I said before. The people who practice this, it's almost like selling their soul. They pollute themselves so badly that it feels sickening, really sickening. But, and this is the biggie, it's not the same feeling as one or two experiences that I've had. I can cope with the sickos. You can walk around the sickos and you can get rid of them because by and large they're just buzzing around like insects around you, and in the end you get fed up with them. You throw a couple of balls of psychic light at them and they bugger off. They don't like it. Easy to get rid of. What I will, would you like me to just take you through what happened at Langley Hall?
Yeah,
this will be this is 3 visits. So it's going to take some time to go through. So,
and Chris George has asked a question. I'm not going to ask it till you're done, but Chris, this might answer some of your thoughts on what you were going to ask Chris about evil environments. But go ahead, Chris. Tell us the story.
The first time that I went there was with Judith, and we were just walking around, and it was absolutely fine. Nothing happening, and I made contact with a young woman, 20s, 30s, walking around the grounds, who was sort of airy fairy, drifting around, just sort of picking flowers and looking at butterflies.
A spiritual,
a spirit, yeah, a spirit. I find it very hard to tell the difference sometimes. Anyway, this went on, and then we stayed there for about 3 hours, and the light started going, and in my mind, someone started screaming, "Get out! Get out now!" So I listen to the voice. Whenever I get this voice, I don't ignore it. I get out. So we did, and to get out of this place, you had to go through a wooded area down to a path, and then when you hit the path, you crossed a stream. We're getting back to water again, and then you're out onto the main path, and all the way down from the ruin to the stream, we were being followed, and it was a really nasty feeling of being followed by something big, with malice in its mind. So that was just my impressions of the day. So we got out there, and I thought, oh, I don't really want to go back there. Second time I went back there during the day, much earlier in the day, with someone doing the archaeology degree with me, the master's degree. And we were just walking around, and it felt absolutely lovely. I didn't make contact with anyone at all. And something happened. I can't remember what it was, in the moated area, just outside it, and this was in the trees of it. And the whole place shifted in atmosphere, completely and utterly shifted, as though we walked into it in brilliant sunlight, and then all of a sudden it was pitch black, and like the roots of the trees were trying to grab at us and things, or at me, not at him. He didn't notice anything going on, but it felt like, no, it felt wrong. So we came out of there, and I decided I wasn't going to do this as a survey for the masters, and I'm rather glad I didn't. The third occasion, I went there with my friend Mark, who's another medium, and this is anybody who's seen my channel in the past. The videos are online now, actually. On the time when I went there with the friend, it still upsets me, to tell you the truth. It's that bad. The time I went there with the friend from the archaeology department, on one wall there was a big, and I'm talking 3-foot diameter, pentagram in a circle in red paint on the wall, with a fire directly beneath it with some bones in.
Now, was this something you were seeing, or was physically? It was physically there.
Physically there.
Okay. All right.
This was, someone was doing something very stupid in the ruin. Someone was doing Satanism in the ruin at the time, and I took note of this. And this is the time when I had the trees trying to grab at me and feeling like this. So we went back with another medium friend, because you can't take the psychic load on your own. You need someone to back you up. And we were walking around, and we're getting loads of EVPs coming out. And we walked around the outside of the place, and it seemed okay. And then I made contact with this young woman again, and she was okay. And we got into the courtyard of the place, and it started. Murder, murder. Somebody was murdered. They murdered me. So-and-so was murdered. And this went on for about the 2 or 3 hours we were there. Murder, 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 murder. Fire. My friend Mark was picking up on people in hoods, just wandering into the place and then wandering out of the place. So we stopped for a little while and had a cup of coffee outside the ruin, and everything was absolutely fine. And we made contact with some spirits, and they were really nice, and we went back in. And that's when it all went pear-shaped, and that's the only word for it, because something rushed. And the only description I can say is, you know that feeling you get when you slam a car door? You know that pressure inside the car?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah? It felt like that. And it was hitting in waves. And it would come out at you, and it would hit you, and there would be this wave of fear that you could feel, and then it would retreat off again. And then we go back to what we were doing, and Mark was saying he didn't like this, and the people in spirits, and then I threw some psychic light at this thing, and it retreated back off, and then Mark was saying he felt better, and it rushed again, and it rushed again, and it rushed again, and it was threatening, and it was getting worse. And then I did a spirit clearance, because I was noticing all these spirits who wanted to go, so I did clearance. And then it lost its rag. Got told to sod off, you bastards, and X, Y, and Z. And we got a name through, and the name was Baal, which was, it's not a good one. Yeah, it's not a good one. The name Baal came through very clearly through the box. And then when I got back home after the end of all of this, for about the next 3 weeks, I had nightmares, really bad nightmares. And a number of accidents, very small, silly accidents. And then it faded away after I broke my leg, faded away. And then every time anyone sort of mentioned to me saying, we'll go back to, this was an interesting sounding place, why don't you take me there? The nightmares have started, and almost like the warning, you're not welcome. So anyway, that's one of the experiences I've had with something really Not a spirit. Very dark.
Well, I've just taken a quick second to look up on Google Baal, B-A-E-L is how, or B-A-A-L. A-L. There's a couple different spellings to it. And it's not a very pleasant demon. It's an ancient god that went bad. It looks from what I'm reading. And Baal, yeah, that's now. When you say that, doesn't that give you pause to think that maybe demons do exist? And if demons do exist, is there a light? And I'm not trying to get into a religious discussion necessarily. I'm just trying to maybe piece some of this together.
If you tell me where you're going.
Well, I mean, I'm of the Christian belief, so I believe there's light and dark, and I personally believe that demons exist. But that's my personal opinion. Is there something that's non-human that existed before that could be using these names to trick us? Do they actually exist?
I can't honestly say that you're going to get a name through that you can identify.
You are
somebody might use a name that they'll sort of, they might recognize this. And, yeah. Which doesn't really work with me because I haven't got a clue what these Christian types are talking about, because it's not me. We basically got out of there because I asked my chaps on the other side to form a barrier for us. Mm-hmm. I can't do it. I can't stop them. Nobody's got the power to sort of go in and stop them. But you get in touch with the other side and they'll do it. And that's how we got out of there. But it really wasn't pleasant in the slightest.
And you did not... Go ahead, I'm sorry.
And there's no way I'm going back.
For you to say that, that's pretty significant. Way
I'm going back.
Chris George mentioned how you feel about evil environments, and it sounds like you just described one. He's had experiences, obviously, as a park ranger, and believes they're also non-human and definitely dark. So it kind of sounds...
You're also talking... We had this conversation a little while back, last Thursday. Mm-hmm. Was it Thursday? It might have been Thursday. About nature spirits as well, and they're different.
Elementals at time. Okay.
Elementals, and they're different as well. They're not all bad. Most are absolutely fine. They don't really take much note of what you're on about because you sort of wander into their world and then wander out. But one or two, especially water spirits, can be very nasty. As I told you about the local law that we've got here.
Oh yeah.
Twice a year, a life to the weir, and it's surprisingly accurate. The River Weir, which isn't that deep, there's a couple of deaths every year by people drowning in it. And so water spirits are, I think, the worst.
Tough question.
I'm gonna have some water. I'm having some water.
I'm having some water too. I can't do the stump knocker for some reason. Where do they come from? And do they come from the same place that maybe this evil critter that attacked you at the castle?
Beyond my pay grade. Beyond my pay grade. I've no idea. Idea.
Would love to hear.
You know that I believe that everything has a spirit.
Yes, I do. Yep, you've spoken about that.
Are they just... I mean, how powerful do spirits get? I don't know. I know there are things out there which I will call a god, and I believe there are things out there which I will call an anti-god. They are that powerful, and I don't think they've ever been human. And it's what you in the Christian world would call angels and demons and X, Y, and Z. These creatures do exist. I think for the most of the time they just ignore us. Or they muck us around and think it's funny. Now and again, we wander into a place that we're not supposed to go, and right place, or rather wrong place, wrong time, and you cop it.
Now, I'm going to make myself sound like a little bit of a fool here, and it's somebody out there knows what I'm talking about, and they call it the Portal to Hell. It's Mickey. It's a honky tonk bar. I want to say in Tennessee or Kentucky. Mickey something. Is anybody out there, if you can remember it, chime in on it here. But it's a place that they've done a lot of investigations there on the TV as well as other folks, and they say that it is a portal to hell.
You do not want me to answer that, do you?
Well, I'd like your opinion. I mean, do those exist? Do those things exist? Portals that lead?
No. You might get something there which is just making it pretty nasty place. But you're not going to get a portal to this and a portal to that.
Yeah, the place is called Bobby Mackey's. Thank you, Jill. Appreciate that.
That's another of these overhyped TV program. Let's go to places, isn't it? Let's go to this place because it's really haunted, and then off camera you've got people throwing things and all sorts just to make it a nice episode for TV. And
people, are you, Chris?
I just get so fed up with the gullibility of the bright young things who say, oh, it must be terrible there. I must go. And you're just thinking, oh, my God. Oh, look, it's only $150 to go to a session of a couple of hours at this place. Oh, I must go and pay $150. And you're just thinking, oh, a fool and his money.
What did you say, Ryan? I heard you pop in there.
Chris ain't wrong, though, if you think about it. Most of the stuff is just for tourism and making money. It's like a portal to hell.
It really is.
If you name a place the portal to hell and you get so much TV coverage over it, what do you think is going to happen? You know what I'm saying?
They're going to go. They're going to pay silly money. So this is what it's all about. This is another reason why I just do my little ruins, because most of the time nobody bothers going there. It's wonderful. So I wander around the place. Maybe 2 or 3 people at most come round.
Well, Mark, M18, I should say, for everybody out there, has a question. He says, "What options do you have to protect yourself if a demon troubles you, or that inhuman entity that?" And I think you kind of answered it. You have the folks on your side of the fence, so to speak, put up a wall to protect you. But everybody has the first protection you've got is belief. That's the easiest thing to say. The first protection you've got is whatever you believe, what you truly fall back on when the chips are right down and you're saying, oh my God, I'm going to die. Please, God, help me. Please, whoever, help me. That is your belief. That is your first line of defense. That, please help me, someone will come and help. I'm just lucky because I've sort of got the reputation on the other side of going to these places and doing things, and some of them just hang around because I think some of them like a fight. So they know that I'm going to go into dark places, and they sort of hang around in case I get out of my depth. So, and let's face it, you can get out of your depth very quickly. Oh, there's no question. That's where I'm going to go next. Take a schmo like me. And I know you'll disagree, but I'm as sensitive as a rock. So I go into a place and I'm conducting my scientific stuff and whatever, and I walk into one of these, or run into one of these individual entities like you did at the castle. What do I do? I mean, it's easy to say.
As I said, the first thing you do is you fall back on your belief.
But what if, Chris, I don't know it's coming till it hits me, and I don't have a chance to fall back on my belief?
Then you just start praying like hell, and hope you've got someone like me or someone like Evan in the group who's a little bit more in tune and can start throwing stuff at them. Mm-hmm. Everybody can. Everybody's got the ability to close it down and not let them in. And it all starts from belief.
Now, see, I agree with you, and that goes back to a very old belief system that they can't harm you if you don't give them permission. That's why at the end of an investigation, you can't come with us because you have control.
They can still come with you if you're unlucky, but you've got to be pretty unlucky because most of them won't. There are things you can do. Oh, how do I? It's very hard to explain. It's really hard to explain. White light. Just when you're saying don't come back with us, just think white light. And that is one of the things that you do. White light.
Okay. Heather Landon out there in Las Vegas agrees with you. She says whatever your belief is will protect you.
Yep.
If you believe it will protect you, if you don't, if you believe it won't, it won't. So that's she's on line with you there.
I mean, if you believe in the Stay Puffed Donut Boy or whatever,
Marshmallow Man.
Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Come on, if you're going to say it, get it right.
Well, I don't know. Don't ask me. But if you believe in that's going to protect you. That is just you projecting a belief, a wall of belief against what is coming against you.
So you're basically saying it's you. It's your belief, but it's you.
It's down to you. You're producing this barrier. You are saying, this is where you say you're not coming with me. You've got to really have that utter belief.
Chris George says when they investigate, they always look to the client to find their faith in order to strengthen the energy for the battle. Okay. I can see that because you're using their faith and what they believe in to help with the issue. Mark M18 says, can you completely get rid of a demon from a location? Once again,
never tried.
Never tried?
Never tried, wouldn't try.
Why wouldn't you try?
It's beyond my pay grade.
Okay. Okay.
I've been there. I've met these things. I'm not trying. If the other side want to have a go, that's fine. I've got too much to lose. Thank you very much.
Okay, fair enough. Heather Landon saying you need to stand up for yourself, even if it is against a non-human entity, and I agree with that too. Standing up and being strong. It's almost like a bear. You don't dare run from a bear because it'll chase you. So so you're standing up. I agree with that. And I know I've talked about it in the show before, but probably my most significant event was when I was in the old school, and we took a guy named Rob Demarest up there, and he was had somebody he wanted to bring in. Rob Demarest was a really decent guy and an anti-TV guy, even though he was on one, really. But I actually had something hit me, and basically I was sending me to the floor. I've told you the story before, and Evan caught me. That's about the closest thing I've got, and probably the most interesting thing about it was we immediately asked, was that you that did that to Larry? And on the recorder, the DR60 we got, then there was a woman with us, and a voice clear as a bell came back and said, yeah, and it's your turn next, bitch, just like that. So but I more attributed that to somebody that was just mean in life.
A mean in life. The only time that I've taken damage from any of my investigations or the work that I've done, and it wasn't with one of the demon types. They go for your mind. They try and wear you down and make you do things to yourself or make you have accidents. The only time I've actually taken damage was at Tholthorpe, the airfield, where I had this flight sergeant who I've told you about before, calling me every single name under the sun. He was haunting this hut. They used to hear him walking around. He was calling me every single name under the sun, standing typical flight sergeant, right nose to nose, and then whack, my lip started bleeding. That's the only time that I've taken damage.
Really?
That's the only time. That really is.
Have you ever been with anybody that has been damaged, hit, pushed, or somebody whose house you were investigating ever had that happen to them, and not been able to explain it?
I mean, pushing is different league. I mean, I've been pushed at Edlingham Castle. Walking over, you get to Edlingham Castle by sort of like a causeway which goes into the castle. On another side, either side of this causeway sort of thing, which is about 3 or 4 foot wide, I seem to remember, there's about a 4 or 5 foot drop, or even 6 foot drop into excavated ruins on either side. And we were coming out of Edlingham Castle, and I got pushed in the back very hard. And I went, you know, like the Ouse Bridge, right? Yeah, I went stumbling off towards the edge. Oh, that
bridge. Okay, yeah,
that bridge,
yeah. There. Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
smart.
I went stumbling off because I got very pushed very hard, and there was a child's or 1 or 2 children laughing.
So that wasn't so much an evil entity as it was
Not
just somebody
evil,
playing
but
with you.
yeah, just something who thought it was very, very funny to try and push someone, which could have been nasty.
Whether it's evil or children playing, the mere fact that the other side can physically cause you to move or you can physically feel them is an interesting subject. In your opinion, how are they able to do that? Is it really just mustering up enough energy so that you can feel that energy as if it's a touch or a push?
Well, it goes
What do you
far.
think?
It goes far more than that. It really does. The
Okay.
Bell Inn at Thetford is quite a famous case. Chap and his wife were there on honeymoon, and he was awake during the night. And this young woman, was walking around the room, and he saw her looking out the window, and various things happened. And then on another night, he woke up, and she was sitting on the bed. This young woman sitting on the bed, and he described her in great detail.
Mm-hmm.
And as she got up, he says the bed moved up. So not only was she solid, she had mass. There was weight to her sitting on the bed. Now, this is really talking in terms of quantum, that something dimensionally comes in, has form and mass, and then just goes out again. As I said, most of this is way above my pay grade.
Yeah, none of us really understand why, and that's why finding evidence and corroborating it with it and finding the commonality in it is so dang important. How in the world does an entity that you can't see that can disappear actually have weight to it? And you're right, that's all the quantum field. I agree, but there's just so many answers. But getting back to the evil once again. And I know you don't know, it's above your pay grade. But where do you think it might come from? Okay, if you look at it from my point of view, and you read the Bible, and there's stories of heaven and hell, evil and good, so on and so forth. But not everybody has that point of view, and let's face it, it is nothing that's been actually ever proven. So where do these evil spirits, where do they originate from? Do you have a thought and opinion?
Nope. Above my pay grade. I mean, I could come out with all sorts of cock and bull stories. I could make something up on the spot.
No, that's not. Yeah,
but
if
I want to be truthful, I honestly can't give you an answer. I really can't, because it'll just be guess.
Has the other side ever offered to, or had an opportunity, or wanted to explain to you? Once again, that's something I can't answer. I don't have that gift. Or is it something that's just we're not supposed to know?
I've had experiences, but I don't want to go into them on here.
Okay, that's fair.
There's a lot of personal. There's a lot of personal stuff. A lot of personal experiences that I have, and people probably think I'm completely round the twist as it is, and I don't want to prove them right.
Well, I've already determined that, Chris. But all of us are. But
I'll tell you one of the experiences when we finish, and you'll see why I don't mention it.
Okay.
But no, by and large, they'll step in and help, but it's nothing to do with us. That's how it seems to be. It's sort of, they'll step in and help, but there's nothing to do with us. You've got people guarding you and making sure that you're trying to keep you out of trouble. And this is where you get these ideas that, oh, well, Eichel know this because he's actually documented this in a couple of his encounters, where you say, I don't want to go to the left of the car, I'll go to the right instead. This little voice is saying, don't go to the left.
There myself.
This little voice is saying, don't go down that road. This little voice is saying, don't go through that door. And this is somebody on the other side trying to look out for you. They're saying, you know, we're screaming at you at this moment in time. Please don't go through there. It's not a good one. And they're always around. They're trying to help you. And that's as far as we get. I mean, it does go further up. There's the, once I start calling in the big boys, as I call them, they'll come and do some psychic kicking. But I don't call on them unless I have to.
Gotcha.
But
Okay.
they
Fair
will,
enough.
they will get me out of trouble. They've done it on a number of occasions, and I think I make them laugh, to tell you the truth. Oh, what's that stupid bugger up to now?
Uh-huh.
It's sort of like a wayward 5-year-old. You see them doing this, that, and the other, and you've told them 10 times you don't do this, you don't do that, and you just sit back and laugh, and then you pick them up and dust them off, and then sort of get
And
rid
do
of
it
the big
again.
boys. And, yeah.
Have you ever had somebody that approached you for either house cleaning or a cleansing, I should say, it's a house cleansing or help crossing something over, that they have explained to you or they've expressed a worry that it's an evil entity?
Oh yeah, many, 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 many times.
Okay.
And almost every single time that you start saying, right, well, what is it? It's really evil. It's a demon. All right. Well, why is that? Well, because I've seen the television and it's exactly the same as all the demons on television. And you're going, yeah, right. So tell me what it does. Well, it opens the wardrobe. Okay. And? Well, it's cold in the bathroom. Yeah. And it feels like somebody's watching me on the stairs. So it must be a demon. You go, yeah, all right. Any smells? No, not really. No. Has anyone been pushed? No, not really. How are your pets? Have any of your pets died? No, not really. So how do you know it's a demon? Well, they told me on the television it was a demon. So you usually get in there and it's someone who lived there before. They just haven't. Somebody. You had the house built on a cemetery, or you got a house next to a cemetery, or they've walked through somewhere and somebody's come back with them, or they've gone to a party one night and they thought it's going to be great fun to have a Ouija session. Great fun. And so this spirit has come back with them, and it's a bit trapped, and it's not sure why it's there, and it's getting fed up, and it just wants to bugger off, and it can't seem to find its way. So you get rid of them. They'll go quite quickly. And you'll get a phone call too. You'll get a phone call in 3 weeks' time. Oh, it's back. All right. So what's happened? Well, we had a Ouija session in the front room, and you just start tearing your hair out.
Chris just made a comment about who that sounds like, and those of you that are watching that could see Chris's comment, you could see what he says, but I will refrain from mentioning it while we're live just to keep myself out of trouble. But you're right, Chris.
Don't tell me, he agrees with me, doesn't he?
Oh, he does. And he mentioned a particular individual that it sounds like. I'm not going to mention the name, but you, I bet, would figure it out.
Now, there's also places that you can... Sorry?
What did you say, Ryan?
I said must stay professional. As much as possible.
Professional, as much as possible.
I've never been professional in my life, and I'm not going to start now.
Well,
there's also places where things have been done, and the land is tainted.
Oh, I think the land being tainted and the land being the source of so much of this is one of the most overlooked aspects of paranormal research investigation.
One place I would really like to go over in America is Wounded Knee.
Ooh, yeah.
I'd really like to go there. I'd like to see who's still there, because that place, it just resonates with me for some reason. Just resonates. It's almost like it's like I'm drawn to go there.
It's a little bit north of Zach. I didn't say that. A little bit north of Ike.
You didn't say that.
I didn't need to do that to you, buddy.
It's the beer.
A little bit north of Ike. Yeah, it's the beer. The one sip I had of the stump knocker. But when we go see Ike, maybe we'll make sure we got enough time to just travel up a couple days north of there.
I'd like to see Wounded Knee. It's just one of these places. But you get other things where curses are laid on the land. Quite often, curses are laid on the land.
Often,
place over there called the Crazies.
Crazies.
Can't remember where it is. No, I can't remember.
Crazies.
It's called the Crazies. That's got a sort of Indian curse on it or something. And then you get the Black Hills.
Yeah, the Black Hills. I'm looking up the Crazies now. Give me a second here. Ryan, you look up the Crazies. Tell me where the Crazies are.
I'm pretty sure the movie's gonna pop up if I put that into Google.
Oh God, no. Well, the Crazies Mountains.
I bet But this does bring up another
It's in Montana.
Freudian
Montana.
slip. Oh, Ike, no, it was a Freudian slip, pal. I do not compare you to him at all. I
No,
apologize.
yeah, no, Ike is nothing
Profusely.
like this. Please,
He said Freudian slip.
I wouldn't bother listening to his show if he was.
Oh, Ike has got some of the most real shows out there. I can't wait till he's able to get back out into the field. They've been all closed up because of the coronavirus thing, but I can't wait for him to get out there because Ike's got the real stuff. There's no doubt about that. Heather at Langdon says, I hear that often from clients. Okay, how can my house be haunted? It's new construction. No one has died here. They don't realize it also can be associated with land.
Yeah.
We had a case that we ended up not going here because the family was looking to sell it, but we got told about it, and the initial research done on the land showed that it was up. Florida's an interesting place, Chris. We're basically under the sea level, under sea level most of the place, but there's crests in areas, and there's one crest such as this ridge, we call it, in a part of Florida where this house was, and this house was the two houses that were there were all both modern prefab dwellings, right? But crazy things are happening there. But the truth of the matter was, it was a spot believed to be where the Ais Indians actually had some of their religious ceremonies. And I think, while we weren't able to get into it in detail, I believe that was a huge part of it. And if you look at a lot of hauntings throughout, at least here in the States, and I'd lay odds it'd probably be the same thing in your neck of the woods, so much of it is land-based rather than dwelling-based. You know,
there's a lot of things which stay with the land. I've no idea how. Don't go in that direction. I have no idea how. If I could work out how it records, if I could work out why it stays like this, I could make a fortune selling DVDs, videos, TV series, writing books. I've got no idea. But at least I'm honest and say I've got no idea.
You are, and that's the one thing about this show, folks. None of us proclaim to have the answers. We're all just trying to find out, like you are. Mark asks, and this is once again just an opinion, or your opinion: can demons affect things we use every day, such as cars, planes, events, etc.?
Spirits can.
Okay, even if you talk biblically, and once again, the Bible was written by man, they talk about Satan being able to not make you do things, but certainly can influence you and change things. So if that being the case, and we're talking that end of it, why couldn't other possibly evil, demonic type things affect it? What's your opinion on that?
Go into any haunted house. I'm sure you've had exactly the same. And one of the most commonest things that you'll find is the electrics are being mucked around with.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Light bulbs keep blowing. Electrical appliances turn on, electrical appliances turn off. Spikes in the power. All sorts of electricity is indicative of a haunting. Doesn't mean to say it's a demonic. It's just indicative of a haunting.
Well, and that's, nobody knows if demons as we describe them or we've envisioned them exist. Nobody knows for sure. But there's sure as hell something crazy going on out there that does affect things. That's why we do what we do, isn't it, folks? All of us out here that are on the show tonight, Chris, Ike, Mark, Heather, all of us. Isn't that why we do this? Is because we know something's going on. What in the devil is it, so to speak?
I've got to admit that the most evil things that I've ever come across are humans.
Well, yeah, that's kind of where I was going to go next. And
I've never met anything as evil as humanity.
As evil and as self-serving as mankind. Yeah, I agree.
Really. Are these demonic forces just copying us?
Wow. Now, see, that's kind of where I wanted to go with part of this. And we've talked about that collective... Now,
the other thing, of course, getting back to something we've talked about ages and ages and ages ago, voices. The crazies who come in and say, so-and-so made me do it, so-and-so made me do this, and the voices tell me to do this and that.
Oh, Son of Sam Killers, his dog was telling him to do it, yeah.
Are they actually hearing the voices? Is something there influencing them? I've heard the voices telling me to do things, but at least I know that this is somebody interfering, piss off,
Uh-huh.
and you get rid of them. But other people who've got other problems, they might start listening to the voices.
And what are the voices? And how does that? And man being an incredibly weak, and this is my opinion, folks, man is a completely weak creature. We can be influenced, we can be manipulated, we can be changed, depending on the circumstances. And that does lead us to be influenced, perhaps, by something that wants us to do something different. I guess Mark asked a while ago, can demons affect these things we use every day? Yeah, I agree with you. I think that it can. But let's go back just a second here. When we talk about the power, and we've talked about the power of our own brain in the past, and we don't really know everything that our own brain is capable of doing, is it possible that either A, that part of the brain is being affected by the other side, or B, we're just flat creating a lot of this evil ourselves?
Well, you just got to take into account people like Crowley and Manson.
Oh yes,
the real Aleister Crowley was
evil incarnate.
His villa over in Italy. I'd love to do that.
Oh my goodness! Well, Aleister Crowley, I call him the harbinger. I call him the godfather of modern Satanism. I mean, he started the whole thing, and his villa in Italy. In fact, he had a bunch of people die there because he had him drink blood of cats, and the cats all had distemper. I'd
love to go there. I really would. I mean, I might be told to get out of there, but I'd love to actually go. And
but Aleister Crowley is truly the epitome, the absolute perfect description of human evil.
He's very nasty. He's the typical narcissist, egotist. Everything was around him. He had to be in charge of everything and what he said when. It's just like Charlie Manson.
Yeah.
All drugs, all influencing others, making them, degrading. Everything about these people degrades other people. And that's something that's
all
key
for
to
their
it.
own pleasure. All for their own pleasure.
It's like this, if you get a definition of evil, it's degrading others. It's degrading animals. It's degrading the world. It's degrading. It's turning something beautiful into something filthy
and vile. Absolutely. So where does that put humans and humans like that on the spectrum of creating evil that manifests itself?
Give or take in the middle. Give or take, some a little bit darker and some a little bit lighter, and then some really tip the barrow one way or the other. And then, as you would say in the Christian religion, what you do in life depends which way do you go up or do you go down.
Yeah.
I'd say you're just drawn towards light or dark. And if you're drawn towards dark, then you're gibbering away in the dark and you're causing all sorts of mischief and mayhem in the afterlife.
Yeah, let's see. A couple things here real quick. Judge Dredd, His Honor, says, closer to home, Crowley's Highland Retreat and Bullskin House near Loch Ness.
I'd love to go there as well.
Would love to go there. Ike wants us to take you to Gettysburg. Now that's a place I'm telling you
that could be very interesting.
That place, I've been there. We have some of our very early paranormal experiences as a team when I was up there years and years ago.
I'm so ticked off I couldn't go with you guys that one time.
Oh, you were sick as a dog, and we had unbelievable events happen. Then it was crazy. But we want to take you. Yeah, Ryan got sick; he couldn't go with us.
I've got to ask: is Manassas anywhere near you?
No. Manassas is up in Virginia. It's Bull Run. That's
Bull Run. Because I've told you before, I've got a past life memory of Bull Run.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, no, that's
I'd love to go there. I'd really love to go there. You're just going to have to
spend a month here. I tell you what, I'll come spend a month with you, then you got to come spend a month with me, and we'll go see Chris, and maybe we'll grab Mark and go. But yeah, Gettysburg is fantastic. And Mark wants to, I agree. We got to take him there. But people, could it also possibly be that people are being used as a transmitter of evil from the other side?
Definitely.
I mean,
definitely.
What I mean by transfer, not even the physical acts, but maybe just the aura, maybe the enhancing the radio signal of evil, so to speak. I mean, not even just the physical act, but
I think once you're touched by it, it's visible. You feel it.
Mm-hmm.
These are the people that walk towards you and you want to cross the road. You just think there's something wrong. And you can get this by living in a house which is just nasty. Because something latches onto you and lives on you, sort of sits on your shoulder and gibbers at you, and it's quite disgusting. Degrading again. It's degrading into vileness. And they have this darkness around them. It might not be them, it's something with them.
Yeah. So evil, whether or not it exists or how it exists on the other side, how it permeates into the human world, will never really, I don't think in our lifetime, come up with the answers. But I think as long as we keep an open mind as to what it is and keep an understanding of what it is, we can at least protect ourselves. I agree with you.
Protect yourself from it. I mean, don't look for it. That's one of the things. Don't look for it because, as Nietzsche said, if you stare into the void starts staring into you. And that's exactly the same premise. You start looking for evil, it starts looking for you.
So as we begin to wrap up tonight, because believe it or not, an hour's already passed, when we talk about protecting ourselves from evil, because we do, there's a chance, all of us that do this, there's a chance. My sister Mary just popped up. Hey, sis, how are you? Thanks for joining us. So protecting us from evil, the most effective way isn't with tools or gadgets. It's just belief, in your opinion.
It's belief. It's down to belief. Think white light and believe what you believe.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what you believe. You can believe in pink elephants, but as long as you believe that pink elephants will protect you, you're going to get that extra protection from yourself.
Because it's yourself that, and it could be an interesting discussion.
Not always. I'm talking the basic level. If you ask, just at the end of anything, you're frightened, just ask out loud, please, somebody come and help me. Help will always come.
Just got to believe. So there's faith.
Just humility. Don't
also
assume
faith.
That you can take care of these things yourself.
Oh God, no.
Humility.
Faith,
always have humility.
Faith is often associated with Christian beliefs, but aren't you, in a sense, talking faith here, if it's even in yourself or your belief? You've got to
have a belief in something.
Yeah.
Everybody. One of the most ridiculous conversations I ever had was with a complete skeptic, and his answer at the end of it: my skepticism is my protection. I don't believe in it. It doesn't exist. It can't hurt me. And I was thinking,
wow.
The Catholic religion has said the best trick that Satan ever did was convincing people he didn't exist.
If I can't see you, you can't see me. That doesn't work.
Yeah. It's head in sand.
Wow.
And I couldn't believe that. It was so head in sand. And I was thinking, you've got to come to one of these places. Well, no, I wouldn't have anyone like that with me, but they've got to come to one of the places that I go and deal with the problems and say, go on, get on with it.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see how you do.
Open minds. Now, I'm going to give a quick plug here, folks. If you're interested in perhaps joining with me and other folks in the field in coming up with plans and ideas and evidence that maybe we can start putting things together. Maybe we can start finding some commonality and evidence. Check out our website at www.ibpir.org. The International Bureau of Paranormal Investigation and Research. We're starting a brand new program right now where we're having teams collect evidence to go into a repository that we're going to examine and look for commonality. And it's the evidence that's in there is anybody that's part of the team can see it. So if you're interested, go to that website, www.ibpir.org. If you have any questions, you can also get a hold of me at ghostguy59@gmail.com. One thing I'd like to do too, Chris, I didn't even talk to you about this. I hope you don't mind, but I'd love to get some ideas from some of the folks out there that listen to us about something they'd like to discuss, whether it be, and it could be anything to do with the paranormal. We talked about Bigfoot one time. So folks out there, you okay with that, Chris? I mean, I already did it.
Would they like to come on the show?
Yeah, we'd love to have somebody on the show. We'd love to have you. We can get that arranged through Skype.
And then Larry can torture you instead of me.
Oh, I don't torture you. But or if you have an idea or something you'd like to discuss, and just get out, because that's what this is what this show's about, is for all of us to discuss this, and not for us to sit and tell you this is the way it is, because we don't know. Nobody knows for sure. We are not the epitome. We are not the have answers to all things guys. We're as in the dark as you are, and we're just trying to talk, and we're trying to figure this out. So if you've got some thoughts or ideas, send them to us, ghostsky59@gmail.com, or get a hold of me on IBPIR. Give us your thoughts. If you've got some ideas for the show. And you're right, Chris, if somebody'd like to be on there on the show, and Christopher George is a proud member of IBPIR. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it, my friend. Let us know, folks. Until then, our time is up, Christopher. So you go to bed.
It always is. It's an hour goes incredibly fast.
Pretty quick. So, any thoughts or comments before we sign off, Ryan?
Nope.
They are succinct as ever.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're going to call it a night, but we'll see you next Tuesday. Now, just to let you know, also the end of the month, we're not going to be on the air. I'm going to be out of town, so we will not be with you on June 30th. Oh, it'll be 3 weeks I'll be out. We may be back the 7th, but it's going to be definitely June 30th and July 2nd. We won't be on. We'll let you know if we're back in time for the show on this July 7th. So just to let everybody know. Okay? All right, guys. Anything else, Christopher?
Nope. No,
All
I'm
right.
talked out now. I've had enough.
All right, go to
It's
bed.
1 o'clock in the morning.
And man, I appreciate you being here more than you know, because I know it's a pain in the butt, and I know you do it just for everybody, so everybody can just hear us. So, folks, thanks a lot. Until next week, we'll see you on the other side. Have a good night. Please be safe out there. Tell somebody you love them. You never know when it might be the last day. Have a good night. See you later. Let me know when we're off, Rye.